Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a discussion on strategic digital services, House Bill 3130, and Texas by Texas overview. DIR is really been seeing an enormous amount of change in the overall digital government landscape, but Texas has certainly shown a lot of response through the COVID challenges, and we've really initiated a lot of great digital services. We're looking at this as a focus area, and we put Jennifer Buis as a director of the Strategic Digital Services effort. And so today she's going to go through that initiative, where we are with some of recent legislation, and really walk through how DIR can support each of y'all in your transition. So with that, I'm going to have Jennifer open up. We are going to have, we do have questions and answers section planned at the end. If you have any questions, by all means, respond through the QA chat there, and we'll look at that at the end and make sure that if we don't answer on screen, we can get right back to you in some format. So thank you all again for being a part of this and your interest in where we're going. And so with that, Jennifer.
Thank you, John, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So as John mentioned, we're going to walk through the new Strategic Digital Services Program. We're going to hit on House Bill 3130 and what exactly is House Bill 3130 and explain it in a little bit more detail, and then walk through a Texas by Texas, or we call it TXT overview, what it is, what the platform, and how the agencies can leverage that. So if we get started, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off camera for a few minutes, but as we walk through what the Strategic Digital Services Program is, over the past year, the pandemic has really forced government and businesses alike to think about how to deliver services in a new way. And so really, we've seen and heard a lot of agencies that are starting to think about digital transformation, but it really is an overwhelming topic, and because there's so many facets of digital transformation, and it's become one of those new buzzwords. So we're really describing digital transformation as the integration of technology into all areas of the business, which includes the people, the processes, and the tools. And at its core, it's really just a strategic reimagining of how constituents want to consume the government services differently, and how they want to use technology to, or how the agencies should use technology to improve the transactions and the processes that our constituents are using. So different examples of transformation might be automating opening of mail that comes in. So if you're still having mail coming through, using tools such as robotics, process automation. Another, we've seen a lot of agencies really start trying to push towards those online transactions instead of even receiving checks anymore. So those are just some examples of digital transformation. If we start talking about what the Strategic Digital Services Program, really the purpose is to help agencies in the adoption of digital technology to transform the manual process within the agency to a digital process. And while we know that adoption of technology is truly necessary, one of the main goals for the program is to actually start educating and working with agencies to help shift the culture and the way agencies are thinking about delivering the services. So focusing on those business outcomes and that the principle, the human-centered design element. So not just replacing the technology, the old technology with new technology. So if we go and look at a little bit more of the objectives of the program, we really want to start meeting with customers and our agencies and providing resources to assist in how you're thinking about digital transformation and delivering those services, whether it be internal to your internal customers within your organization or to your constituents, the taxpayers of Texas. DIR has recently published a digital transformation guide that we'll throw into the chat here, and we will continue to provide resources for the agencies to leverage, such as a digital maturity model assessment. And we want to start doing facilitated workshops So we're going to be working on this toolkit to help your agency in the transformational journey. So tying this into that's a little bit about the program, and we will be available to answer more questions about the program, and we want to start talking to your agency, but relating how this ties into House Bill 3130. So if we look at the importance of having a mobile experience for your constituents, we have seen just in the Texas.gov program that a huge amount of transactions, it was 30%, I think it's even higher now, are coming, they're accessing all of the services through a mobile device. So the expectations from constituents is that they want a simple and secure mobile experience. And that is why the legislature this year put into place House Bill 3130. And so as we move to the next slide on the overview of House Bill 3130, it's really requiring state agencies effective on September 1st of this year to notify and work with DIR to inform about if you're expecting to go contract with a third party to build a native mobile application that duplicates Texas.gov functions. So that's kind of what the statute reads. Now, let me start, I'll explain it. Really, but if the as legislators were being educated about just the general population, and they're hearing their constituents say they want mobile experiences. We've been talking about providing Texans with the secure, mobile-friendly platform that can help drive citizens to one location to consume their government services. So this is a value to the constituents for the state of Texas. So they have one location and it's not having to download multiple applications. The benefits to the state agency is really that there's already a native mobile application platform built, especially if you're interacting with constituents and for transacting in different types of maybe license renewals or anything that your agency might do for that. And so this is already built. So it's a cost savings to the agency as well as just overall to the state of Texas to not duplicate that infrastructure. When I talk about a native mobile application, I want to make sure that it's clear to everyone. This isn't that you have to notify DIR if you're building a responsive web app. So we know a lot of agencies are working through modernizing their applications, and they're putting in responsive design so it renders, and we're calling that a responsive web application. That is fine, and we encourage agencies to do that. This is really, really focused on that native mobile app. So if you're familiar with the most common stores that you can download a native mobile app are probably the Google and Apple store. And so when you actually go in there, you search for an app and you download it through those Google and Apple, those platforms on your smartphone. That is what the legislation is talking about on that native mobile application. So if your agency is pursuing and wants to build your own native mobile app, it's requiring you to come to DIR, work with DIR so we all understand what kind of native mobile app you're doing. And then we can start working towards if we think that's an appropriate use case for the TXT platform. If it's not, there might be situations where it is not a good use case and DIR provides an exemption for you. But the legislation is that you do notify and work with DIR if you're moving towards that native mobile application. Just a little bit more about native mobile applications. They're really expensive to build because of all of the development and maintenance costs that are associated with those platforms. You have to build two different systems. So if you're deploying a native mobile app in the Apple Store, you have to build that on the iOS platform. And then if you're deploying in the Google Store, of course, that's built for the Android platform. So you have two different sets of code. you have to maintain and keep up with all of the different Apple requirements, or the iOS requirements and the Android requirements. So it's a significant investment for the agency if they're going to try to do this on their own. So let's talk a little bit about then the TXT platform. So the TXT platform, Texas by Texas, is run through the Texas.gov program. And Texas.gov is the state's official website and digital government program. Many of our customers that y'all are using the Texas.gov program for payment processing, or even application development. But this TXT platform is run through the Texas.gov program. So if we look a little bit more about what TXT is, the vision a couple of years ago, and we might want to just advance to the vision slide. There we go. Thank you. It was to provide a digital government assistant that really was highly secure, but that it would anticipate the constituents' needs and could help them walk through a really, really strong user experience. So in 2018, we worked and we put that as part of the Texas.gov program, and we started building out this platform. So the value of TXT, on the next slide, we have a little bit more about the value, is really starting for the constituent. We know they're expecting to utilize their phone. And so helping them have that in mobile experience, and then also helping with where they don't have to go to multiple locations. So if ours, say that DMV and DPS and Parks and Wildlife and everyone had a separate mobile app, they would have to be native mobile app, downloading all kinds of native mobile apps onto their phone. So this is really to start driving towards that one place where they can transact with their government. And the vision is to hopefully, in years to come, get that where you have even the local government participating, where it truly is government at the hands in one place for the constituent. And then, as we've seen for our y'all, this last year has been really, really difficult, and it's really to be able to adopt and be able to have digital services has really helped a lot of our agencies. And we know that many of you are very, very progressive and have really thrived during the pandemic. So this is just one more opportunity to help our agency partners really have that continuity of operations from the transaction side when they're interacting with their constituents. So it's important Texas by Texas is built as a responsive web app, and then the native mobile app that we're talking about that's part of this is just part of the suite of services. So you will be able to, you create a profile. So the constituent creates this profile using the multi-factor authentication, and then they're able to have their personalized dashboard. So this is where they're going to start looking and going, okay, I think I need to link these services through DMV, or I need to link my driver's license renewal through DPS, or my professional license through TDLR. So you're linking, and you're really starting to see your dashboard, and with being able to store your payment information and see all of your transaction history. Now, when we do launch the native mobile app here in a couple of months, it will be accessible from the iPhone and the Android. It'll have push notifications. So that's something that you can opt it for if you want text messages or if you prefer emails. And really those call to actions for the constituent of, you have something to do now with this government entity, go ahead and do the transaction right now. It'll have in the native, there will be native features in the native mobile app. So as you think about it, I'll show you some screenshots here in a moment where you think about using the camera or using geo services. It's just part of what your phone does naturally. Um, some state agencies that are using TXT so far. So we started with TDLR and launched in 2019 as they were an early adopter. And we got the massage therapy and massage instructor license renewals integrated into the platform. And we've had a lot of success. I believe now, so there's been a little over 17,000 accounts created, but last I checked, I think it was probably like 10 or 11,000 actual renewals that went through this TXT platform. We've gotten feedback, and everyone that user base have been really I guess happy with the way that those renewals work. They really easy and really focused on that design of making the flow work for the user experience. And then right now we're really excited. We're working with DMV for vehicle registration renewal. And that is will be going live here at the end of this month. So it's really exciting times. And then also we've been working with DPS for driver's license renewals, which will be going live towards the end of October. So it's exciting times, and with having those vehicle registration renewals and those driver's license renewals, that is something that those are services that all constituents, for most constituents, consume. And so having those kind of key services on there, where then we start bringing in other services where not only they can do all their professional licensing, maybe that's, and eventually, right, working, where maybe you have your boating registration renewals, where just really starting to think about all of the opportunities to have one place for the constituents. And I will say, so in this screen right here, you kind of see more, have an illustration of the web app view when you're logging in, and also the native mobile app view. So you can really tell. So like if you're using the web app, of course, you could use that on your desktop, or it will render with that responsive design on your phone. But if then this native mobile app, you do have that true experience of it's very simple, and it's all click by click by click, just similar to what you're doing. Like maybe if you're doing a transaction with your bank, on a lot of the banks now have those downloadable native mobile apps, and it's very simple, and they have it where it renders and easy to flow through. So this next right here, we're looking at, of course, the web app view and then the native mobile app view. So I referenced that the features, using that feature of your phone where you can use your camera and scan your vehicle registration sticker. So in the web app, you're going to have to type your VIN and those characters that you would normally do. But in the native mobile app, you're going to have the capability to just go scan your driver's or your vehicle registration sticker, and it'll populate all of the information. So just an example of the benefits of using the native mobile app, and why it might be helpful for constituents. So I talked a little bit about the personalized dashboard and being able to see the services they have and link to them. So you see here where the branding of the agency is still there. So you still have the agency logo. So the constituent knows, okay, I am working with this department, but it's all in one location. So in here you see just we have the three agencies that we're working with so far, and that's when you are able to hit those. If you were in the screens, you hit that and it would go and start working through the services. And it would be telling you on your dashboard, okay, you need to renew, you're due to renew, or you're past due, and then the steps that you need to take for that renewal. As we start thinking about what it looks like, and kind of tying it back to the Strategic Digital Services Program that we've just kicked off and launched, this is something, I won't cover all of this in detail. There's a lot of words on this page, but we can absolutely share this with the group. But this is where we can start helping you decide internally, and just walk through some exercises and provide, the research that we've done on, when should you build a native mobile app, or when should you consider a web app, and um, what's more practical for your use case. There's going to be great advantages to native mobile apps in some situations, but there might be disadvantages, like the cost and the maintenance. And then kind of looking at, this is another slide here, the pros and cons um, of native mobile apps versus web apps. So this is information that we can share with you, and you can work with your teams. But it's also kind of tying back to how we can start, DIR can start working with your agency and providing that kind of consultative approach of, here's what the research we've shown, and that we've done, and this is what's leading to different decisions as you move through your digital transformation journey. So I wanted to make sure and leave time to answer some questions and walk through anything that I might have mentioned. And so let's go back to the chat window here. Let's see, is there questions out there? So I'm seeing, okay, does HB 3130 have the same requirement if we purchase a system that includes a mobile app that is already developed and in use by other agencies or states? I need to probably go back and research that. So I don't think that there had been a contemplation of, so if you're purchasing an existing system that already had that through that platform, that is a great question. And I think that's something we're starting to work up at FAQ. That's something we would probably want to put in the FAQ, but let me go back and check on that, Heather.
Yeah, and hey, this is John. I'll add in, certainly 3130 requirement is the same. The question would be through the exemption process and the request to ensure that that was spelled out and under consideration then. So,
Yeah.
From the question standpoint, yes, it is still part of my interpretation, is it would still be considered within purview. The question is, process to review and what makes sense.
Right. So we will get, we can update and put that in, and we will be publishing an FAQ. We'll add that and make sure we've addressed that question in the FAQ. Do we have to establish the web application first, or can we skip over that and go straight to only mobile capability? So you don't have to, maybe I might need a little bit more clarification. You can build a responsive, so you can build a mobile web app, but really, so the 3130 is strictly talking about those native mobile apps, and to integrate with TXT. So, and maybe Ann, I might need to follow up with you if y'all are looking to, if you wanted to integrate with TXT, are you asking if it had to be through the web app, or could it only go into the native mobile app functionality maybe? I would say that, so I'll follow up with you, Ann, on that question. Yes, we don't have a lot paying by web app. Okay, so you don't have a lot of users that are coming and paying online, I guess, probably. I think in the integration with TXT, we would probably integrate, we'd recommend having in both places. So what we've done with DMV, so DMV is going to be the only agency that'll actually be leveraging the native mobile app features. But as you saw on that screenshot, you have DPS and TDLR are within the native mobile app, and there's an arrow pointing out. As soon as that arrow goes, it launches them into the web app. And the web app is very, very very similar, and where the expectation is that the user maybe doesn't even know they've been launched out to the web app, but because it is more expensive to put and integrate into the native mobile app and use those functionalities, that's why we always say, do you need the functionality of a native mobile app? For vehicle registration, it was a definite yes, because that capability to scan the vehicle registration sticker. Whereas some others, you don't necessarily need those native smartphone features. So do we know if we use, if the use of IT staff augmentation contractors to develop a mobile app constitutes third-party contracted services for the purpose of this bill? So if it's a mobile web app, that is outside the scope of 3130. And so if you're using staff aug to build a mobile web app, then that's completely fine. That's outside scope. If you're using staff aug to build a native mobile application, that does constitute as a third-party contract service, and you would need to go through DIR. So if we are looking at creating our own native mobile app, we have to contact DIR prior to doing any work with the possibility of using TXT. Yes, that's right, Jessica. If you have to work, and we'll be starting to publish also the process to contact DIR and what that looks like. But yes, you would contact DIR, you would notify us. We will have some established forms of what you're building, what the purpose is, so then we can work with you to evaluate, is this a use case that fits right into the TXT platform? And if it's not, and we say, okay, this is something different. So for example, I've heard of agencies that are building a native mobile app for their employees to interact with their HR systems. Because TXT is the platform right now is really focused on constituents, that would likely fall outside of the use case, and then DIR would be providing an exemption to the agency to go build. But just the legislation requires us to document the why the agencies and they provide justification as well as cost, so that at the end, when we have to report back to the legislature, we can show that the reasons behind needing other platforms or the reasons why an agency needed to do their own native mobile app. Is the agency required to build the web APIs, or will DIR be responsible for that process? We do have existing APIs already developed, and we would be providing those to the agency. There is, so as we start working with agencies for that integration, it really depends. We have to look at the application. If it's a legacy app, if it's able to consume APIs or what kind of work is needed. But we do have a process that we work with to really scope out what the integration looks like and what the cost to the agency would be, depending on the level of maturity of the app and as well as the integration. I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat right now, but of course we have another minute or so, and then I'm happy to stay on longer and answer more questions. If anyone would like to, we're available. If any agency is looking into a system that has a mobile functionality as a piece of the solicitation, is notice to DIR required? For example, chatbots would be web-based, but would need accessibility from a mobile platform. Not sure that is considered a mobile app. Sorry, not techie. So Trisha, I think really it's if mobile functionality in a chatbot being leveraged on a mobile web app that's not required. It's really looking at if what your agency is looking to do, and they're soliciting a native mobile app where y'all are going to build a platform or an application that has to be downloaded and is leveraging chatbots maybe on a downloaded app, that's when the notification to DIR is required. When can we expect the recording to be sent out? I'm not sure, so Elizabeth or team might have to answer that one. But we will make sure and put that into the chat when it will be distributed. Is DIR prepared to implement a mobile app targeting organizations or businesses? The current identity and access management methods presumes an individual citizen. So yes, David, going into kind of the future, this was the first piece. So it was really important to get the constituent platform developed and off the ground. The next piece is looking at, we have heard from a lot of our customers that there is a need to interact with businesses and organizations. So looking at that government to government and then government to business. And so we are actively looking at what that next platform is, TXT for business, and starting to really gather requirements of what our agencies are needing. So yes, we do anticipate this will be coming in the future, but the priority was to get the constituent platform off the ground. I'm not seeing any more questions. Still happy to stay on, but while people might be thinking of their question, so my contact information's here. It'll be sent out in the slide deck. If you want to start learning more about the new program we're launching or how we can help you, I'm happy to work with you. Or if you have additional questions about House Bill 3130 or TXT, would love to hear from you and start those conversations. I'll also be at task for anyone that might be at task next week, and would love to meet you and have those discussions. Can the mobile app use the agency's identity management system? It depends if you're talking about your agency, if you have your own identity management system, and I would want to explore that with you, Dorothy. We leverage an identity management system on the TXT platform, so that's all built in to the system. But could definitely have some more discussions and see what you're thinking and what opportunities might be. Okay. Any more questions? Happy to stay on as long as anybody would like. We could keep working through questions. I don't know. I'm not looking at the chat window as of when this would be published. Maybe, but Elizabeth probably put it out there. So. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions, so really, really appreciate everyone's time, and we look forward to working with you and answering any potential questions you might have or your agency might have. So thank you for your time today, and have a great Thursday.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day.